On Photography is a series of conversations with contemporary image makers, critics, gallery directors, and theoreticians. I'd like to welcome you to a On Photography series by VASA. And today we're very happy to have with us Stefana Gengotti, who lives in Rome, Italy. And let me bring her to the screen. There you are. Really happy you could be with us.
I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Hello, everyone.
Okay, now Stefani lives in Rome, Italy. In fact, we only live a few minutes as a seagull would fly from each other. Well, we can't get to each other because of all the restrictions. So
not yet. Not yet.
We will do that. A glass of wine on the beach, like we talked about. Okay, but basically, she's a reportage documentary photographer. Her work has been shown in many different publications, including the New York Times, the National Geographic, and other publications. Her approach to her work is very interesting because she really engages herself with the lives of the people she's photographing. She lives with them. She spends days with them. She doesn't fly in and fly out and take some pictures and leave. She's there every day, and we'll talk about that. That basically she becomes engaged within their own life. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about you and your background in photography and how you got into photography.
Okay, great. Well, I didn't start photography at an early age. I studied as an interpreter, and I used to work at Rai Television, which is the main news channel in Italy. But I knew that that was not what I was gonna do for the rest of my life. And but I've always been a traveler. I've always traveled because I come from a family of flight attendants. So I traveled since a very early age with my parents, and they took me everywhere: India, Thailand, and in a very truthful way. I mean, they never tried to hide reality from me, and they always explained the places where they were taking me to. And I remember, like, one of my first memories was when I was 7, and I was in Mumbai with my father, and he said, "You know, Stephanie, I mean, you're a lucky child. I mean, you come from a well-off family. I mean, we're kind of rich, but you know, not everybody lives this way." And he took me to this street where kids were forced into prostitution, and I was just like humified. I mean, I didn't think about life from this point of view, and I think that images work in your head for a long time. And I think that I started taking pictures that very right moment. And so in my 30s, I was traveling in South Africa. I mean, I was trying to overcome the death of my sister. And so I don't know, I was really insightful at the time. And I was just walking in the beach and with my camera, and I always traveled with this camera, but I never thought about making something with it. But I always was very close to people, and I was always like talking to local people and trying to never travel in big hotels, but always like kind of a backpacker, you know? And I took this picture. I mean, I saw this man, he was an African man, a very simple image, an African man staring at the sea with a very long shadow. And I took this picture, and then something happened. I mean, something really happened inside me. And I said, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I started doing. I mean, I had I didn't study photography. I didn't know anything about it, but I had really clear ideas. I went back to Italy, and everything happened kind of by chance, even if I don't believe in chance, but I believe in what you can attract in your life. That's really my main belief. So I met this director of photography. He was retired, and he said, "Listen, I mean, you work in the office, but you can come really early, like at 6 o'clock at my house every day, and I will teach you photography." And that's what I did, and that's where I started to take pictures. And then step by step, from him, I started working in the movies as a stills photographer, which I really didn't. I mean, I didn't feel myself so comfortable, because I wasn't like the main actor in this environment. I mean, I was just bothering everyone because I need to just to take picture, and nobody had time for me, and plus I don't really like Italian actors. I mean, I was not in Hollywood anyway. And but then something happened. I mean, I met on a movie set a gypsy family. And that's where I went. I mean, I just said goodbye to the movies, and I started to follow this gypsy family for a year. Actually, I stayed with them for 4 years, but I more became part of the family than take pictures. And I think that is the experience that, I mean, gave me the most, because being able to enter such an environment where family are so tightly bond, and you are just someone coming from outside, and they see you as someone rich, so they try to I mean, they might try to rip you off or whatever. I mean, but actually I think that I went there with such a clean and pure heart that they just accepted me, and I learned a lot. I mean, I really learned the street life with them, and that helped me a lot for the next projects.
Was that the circus project?
No, the circus project came 15 years after.
Okay.
Because
when I first met you was at the photo festival in southwestern Poland, and I saw your circus pictures, and I really got engaged with those images. So basically you were working with
you should know that the gypsy experience has inspired me for the circus project, because of course the life in a trailer is very similar, but my circus characters are not gypsies. They're just artists, because they don't come from traditional circus families. They're just people like me and you who like to do art and to live freely, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's take a look at your circus pictures, and since I'm running it from this end, you have to tell me if the pictures are actually changing. Okay.
Yes.
So, we rehearsed this one time with the pictures, and mine were changing, but not hers. So
yes, and I was talking about other pictures while you were showing something else.
So what do you see now on your screen? Just so that we know.
I see a mother and a son kissing.
Okay. Yep. That's the first one. Okay.
Yeah. Let me see if it changes. Yeah, perfect. Now it changes.
It works.
Yeah.
Technology is always surprising this way.
I can tell you how I started this circus project. It was 2016, and a female magazine, asked me to go in another city, in the countryside, to take pictures of 2 couples of artists, of circus artists. At the time, I had no idea that this kind of reality was existing. I never heard about Nouveau Cirque before. So as soon as I arrived in this place, I was expecting like a tent to see exotic animals like lions, elephants, but none of that I saw. I just saw some like French artists, very, if I can say, hippie, walking around and just, I mean, juggling. As soon as I stepped inside this reality, I felt so fascinated and so enchanted by this way of living. It's like if these people were living at a different time than ours, and were just having a much more relaxed lifestyle and very natural way of living. So I decided I would just continue follow these people. It is not easy to find these circuses. The work is structured in chapters, and every chapter tells the story of a different family. It's an ongoing project. I think I can continue for the rest of my life. I don't see myself stopping going to the circus once a year. It's my escape place, you know. And as I was saying, it is not easy to find these circuses because they don't live on social media, they don't promote their shows on a website, but they just go from place to place, sometimes moving on drone horse caravans, sometimes on just trailers. But I discovered there is a whole world of festivals and street art festivals where you can find these curious situations and curious people. Well, what I understood is that I needed to build up a very close relationship with them, and which is actually the base of my photography. Before taking pictures, I really try to enter the people's life, and I really try to understand their lifestyle and what they feel and what they do. And this really comes from my gypsy experience. And as I'm very curious and I really want to experience what I'm talking about, my way of photography is really it's really how can I say, intimate. So people understand straight away that I am not the kind of invisible photographer who's not noticed, but I am really there, and that I will go in their bedroom, and I will follow them in the bathroom, and I will be there when they get changed, or whatever happens. And that's how I started to work with them. With them, I had the chance to go one step forward in my photography and really starting and thinking to build up a picture. How can I tell this story? And I really worked with, maybe because they're actors, but I never treated them as subjects, but always as characters, as actors. And we worked together on what we should work on the day after, what clothes to wear, what kind of setup should we work on. And they were really happy to be involved in the whole creative process. I don't know if you went through already one of the images with one of the family portraits. There is, yeah, exactly, that's it. Okay, there is something that because I really live with these people for like 20 days, a month, and I really become a part of the story, but I cannot put myself in the picture because, of course, I'm the photographer. I always try. I found an escamotage to be in the picture, and the escamotage is to have one of the characters wear one of my clothes. So it's a way for me to be part of the picture. In these pictures, there is someone who's wearing my clothes. Guess who? I don't know. I mean,
Okay. I'm not going to say anything.
You don't know? Okay. Anyway, it's the girl. It's the girl with the red dress in the case.
Oh, I was going to say the man with the beard.
It looks more like you, anyway.
Probably. If my beard was that good. So the people really, it was more of a collaborative project where it's their project as much as yours.
Yes, exactly. I mean, we are at the same level. I mean, these are very creative people, and for me, it's interesting also to share ideas and to make a community work. I mean, these people live in communities, live in families, and every day at lunch or at dinner, they discuss about how to make things work and what they should improve. And they always found some time for me. And I mean, they were part of my project, and I was part of their life at that time. And I mean, that's how we made things work, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Not all the pictures are staged, of course, just some of them. But I think I am someone who's very aesthetical. I really like to create a strong aesthetic. First of all, because it's fun. Second of all, probably because I'm Italian, so it's part of my culture. Maybe, I don't know, but I like to work on my ideas and on my creativity. And to be just a documentary photographer sometimes can be frustrating for me. So to be able to create something when I tell stories, it's very challenging and very interesting.
Besides the images, do they have any input into the story you're telling? I'm assuming there's text to go with this.
Can you repeat? Sorry, I didn't.
I'm assuming there's text to go with the story.
Sure.
Do they have any input into that?
If they can write the text, you mean?
Or say, no, that's you know, you need to say it another way, or that's not how it works. I mean, basically, they were co-writers with you.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, for example, every day I was going back to the to them with showing them the pictures and showing them, okay, what do you think about this one? Shall we do it again, or are you happy with it? And they were really collaborative, and they were just saying, oh, maybe we can do this one better, or oh, really, I really like this one better than that one. And yes, of course, they had a saying. Of course, the final choice in the end is mine, but because I see it from a professional point, of view. I see it with a different eye. But they were involved. I mean, they were involved in the whole process.
Yeah, and they saw the images you were making as you were making them.
Yes, I saw. And plus they have the images. I also gave them the images. There is one of the circuses who has a permanent exhibition in the circus with my pictures. Yeah,
that's nice. It's really nice. Yeah. So you really integrated yourself into their life and their lives into you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it was two-way.
Yeah. And we call each other during the year. I mean, sometimes, and we really keep the relationship alive. I mean, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's look at another series you did. And I just did screenshots of your webpage to show some of the pictures.
Well, this is a project I did in Ostia, which is it's a neighborhood in Rome, and it's the exact place where the river Tiber ends and it meets with the sea. This is a story I took in 2009. I lived 1 year with these people, going there every day, and I mean, trying to experience the difficulty of their life at the time. They were exposed to a lot of danger at the time because they occupy the soil illegally. They don't, and all the houses that are there don't have any permission to be there. But these people have been living there for 50 years, 60 years. So that there were threat of eviction at the time, in a way because the sea was just entering sometimes in the houses, and in another way also because they wanted to build the waterfront, and they wanted to extend the waterfront exactly where these people live. But there was no plan to move them anywhere else, so that they would just become homeless. And for a year, I decided to kind of fight with them, or at least document this fight, but not in a way of protest. I decided not to show in my picture any protest, but more give a face to the people who lived in Idroscalo, which is the place where they live. And it is also, for your curiosity, the place where Pierpaolo Pasolini was murdered.
When you started that project, was there suspicion about what you were doing?
Well, it has not been very easy. In the beginning, it took 3 months before I could even take a picture. But there is a very strong figure, very strong character in this place, which is a priest, a missionary priest who lives in this community. And everyone really likes this priest, and everybody goes to the Mass on Sunday. And I was invited to the Mass every Sunday, and that's where he introduced me to a lot of people. And that's where people started to know me and invited me in their house for lunch. And so I had the chance to talk to the people and just, I mean, do what I did. I had some problems a year later, but I mean, political problems. They were saying, I mean, some politicians were saying that some of the pictures were not real, or they were, I mean, put together to create the idea that things weren't right. But Roberto, I took you to this place, and you could actually just confirm that I didn't.
You didn't need to manipulate.
You didn't need to. I didn't need, but everything. But I mean, things went fine in the end. But there was, like, I mean, there was a way to grow up as well, because when you go inside these kind of realities, things like this can happen. So it was a strong experience.
Well, what's interesting too, in sociological research, people will find an informant or a guide in that village or in that community,
Sure.
Which will introduce them in, that the people all kind of respect that person. So thus you're introduced as a good person to the community.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's what happened with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, let's go to another.
Maybe you could show 9 months.
Show you what?
9 months, the other project.
That's what you read my mind. You read my mind.
Okay, this is a project that I did from 2010 to 2012. It's in Naples, and it's the story of a teenage pregnancies. I discovered in Italy there is the highest rate in Naples. There is the highest rate of teenage pregnancies, and of course, it was not easy to go just in the streets and find these teenage girls. So I addressed my research in a hospital, where to a gynecologist who is in charge of talking to these adolescents. And this gynecologist, really appreciate. She was a feminist. She was someone really engaged in trying to, help these girls. To use protection and to avoid having kids at such an early age. And anyway, she introduced me to five stories, and I discovered that most of these pregnancies didn't happen by chance, but they really, the girls really wanted to be pregnant, really wanted to have these kids. Because they didn't have a real social status. They were not students, they didn't work. They were just little girls staying at home with their parents. And so they were kind of grown, but they were still kids. And so they really wanted to make their way into society. And the best ways was to be the mother of someone. The youngest one was 13, and the oldest was 19, but she already had 3 kids. It's funny because their mothers, who were the grandmother of the child born, were my age anyway, and I had no kid, so I was the strange one in this society, in this community. But anyway, they really accepted my presence. For them, I was an opportunity to see a different lifestyle, and they gave me really the opportunity to spend a lot of time with them, to sleep in their house, to eat with them, to go shopping with them. And I was involved in like any kind of process of their life, even if they fight with their boyfriend, or the boyfriend was arrested, and they had to baptize the child, and I helped organizing. I was really part of the family. That was another amazing experience. And
were there like lines that you could not cross or you would not cross in what you would do with them or for them?
No, actually
Okay.
not. Absolutely not.
Okay.
They really they were really open, and they really accepted me totally.
Okay. I'm going to stop sharing there and come back to us. We're still here. Okay.
Yes, wow.
Sometimes it works pretty well. Your work, what's interesting, listening to you talk about the work and see the work, right, is and I may have said this in the very beginning, but your engagement, your involvement with the people in a very humanistic way. You're not just photographing and leaving, as we said, but you're actually there. You're saying you were in the circus like 4 days a week, right? You were going to a community in your own neighborhood that was hard hit.
Yeah.
You were engaged in what you were doing. It just wasn't photography.
Yeah, but in fact, as I always say, photography is just the last part of the deal. Of course, that's what allows me to express my point of view or my creativity. But first of all, I really need to satisfy my curiosity. So this comes before. I spend a lot of time talking to the people, listening to their stories, asking questions, but also talking about myself. I see photography as a therapeutic. How do you say?
Therapeutic. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Can you say it again?
Therapeutic.
Yeah. Okay.
My English is not that great. Been here too long. Okay.
I'm so sorry, but I'm Italian, so it's a therapeutic medium to for me and for them, and it's a real exchange between the photographer and the character I'm taking pictures of. It's really based on an empathic relationship.
Well, in the beginning, you said you came from a privileged family. Your father was telling you, well off economically, educated parents, all that. And he said he wanted to show you a world that you would not see. The kid.
Well, my father actually came from a very, very poor family. That's why he wanted to show me the other side.
Yeah.
You know.
But as kind of like, we'll say, upper middle class woman.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you began to explore people on the other end of the spectrum.
More middle than upper, but anyway.
Okay, we're not going to ask you for a donation. We don't accept any donation.
I do it anyways.
Yeah, right. But I mean, the impact of your cultural historical framework, right, going into another area, another world, we'll call it, right? How much of that did you kind of have to shake your assumptions and just be open to trying to understand their lives?
Well, I think that before this, there was a long process while I was growing up. I mean, I really traveled by myself a lot. I mean, since I was 17, and I didn't travel for holidays. I mean, and I don't even remember having a holiday. I just remember traveling. That was all. I was working 3 months and then trying to travel for 5 months, and so I mean, and also traveling in a very relaxed way. I mean, not a well-off way, but really with my backpack and going to sleep in, I mean, whatever hostel I could find, and when you travel by yourself from such a very young age, I mean, you start to develop other qualities, you know, and you start to communicate with people and in a different way. So I think that the process started then. And also my gypsy experience was something that helped me a lot in this way. And this is way before photography.
So you have a series of books coming out in the circus, or they're out already?
Well, there is a German publisher that has just bought the circus to make a publication in Germany, in Italy, and France. So.
When they buy your work, do you also keep copyright and ownership of the work?
Yes, sure, of course. Yes.
Okay. I mean, it's good to know. For people watching this may say, oh, she sold her work. Yeah.
This is the main the main thing to.
Well, we only have a few minutes left before Zoom will end our meeting. But I just want to thank you for spending time with us, and it's nice seeing you again, because I've been under quarantine now almost 3 months, you know? And so it's nice, you know, this also serves my emotional, social needs to be with people. But again, thank you so much, and your work is so exciting, and I'm so happy I met you in Poland and saw your work and heard you talk about it, and again, hearing you talk about it.
Thank you so much, Roberto, for having me at VASA. It's really a privilege for me to have shared my story with you.
Ciao.
Ciao, Roberto.